Hey guys, Ryan King here, and I'm the keyboard instructor for WorshipArtistry.com. In today's YouTube lesson, we're going to take a look at the song From the Day by the group I Am They. That's a tongue twister. And specifically, we're going to look at the tone. So if you want to see the entire lesson, because we're only going to look at the tone, then you need to click the link and head over to Worship Artistry where you can sign up for an account. You can sign up for less than $10 a month, and it's totally worth it. But just in case you want to check out the tone video, this is for you. The tone for this song is fairly involved. We're using an acoustic piano and about 7 other synth parts. Now, the acoustic piano, I'm just using a 7-foot Yamaha, and on the actual demo, you hear kind of an upright piano. It's got a little bit of a twang to it. So what I've done is I've applied a chorus effect to the piano, and by itself, it sounds like this. So you can hear it's kind of got a little bit of an upright sound, but it's a little bigger sounding than just your typical upright. So again, that's the piano. Now, in addition to that, we're adding what we call a glockenspiel, and that's basically a bell sound, and it sounds like this. So you can see it's got a nice bell sound, and you'll notice when I played that last note right there, the G, the bell didn't actually sound. And that's because I've limited the glockenspiel from A to F. And that's because we're playing a melody line, and this bell sound really helps push forward that melody line. So again, this is just a resonant glockenspiel. This is all coming out of Omnisphere, and this is just kind of a stock preset there. Next, I'm using a Hammond B3 organ. This is also coming out of Omnisphere. It's called High Watt Hammond 2, and with the piano, it sounds like this. So you can see that's got a nice kind of glue factor to it. Also provides a little bit of energy because this specific B3 has a little bit of grit and dirt to it. It's kind of a dirty sounding Hammond B3. It's not nice and pure. It's got that nice rock sound, a little bit of drive to it. And that I've actually got on the entire range of the keyboard. That's because we're only using it during the chorus, and we really want it to kind of come out and help glue things together. Next, we're using an arpeggiated mandolin, and this mandolin is actually called mandolin B. There's 2 different mandolins inside of Omnisphere, one's A, one's B. I just liked the overall sound of the B mandolin. Now the thing to know about this is that we're using an arpeggiator. That arpeggiator is set to 16th notes, and I've kind of randomized a little bit the pattern that it plays. It's still playing 16th notes. It's going 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. But it's not just doing a machine gun effect where every single hit is the same volume. I've kind of randomized that a little bit and adjusted it just kind of to the taste of my own ears. And what I've done is I've limited that specific sound to C above middle C. Now, if I come to D, you can't really hear it. Nothing around it, it's just on C. I can even let go and use my sustain pedal, and it still sounds out. So again, that's just a mandolin. I've applied an arpeggiator to it. And I've also applied, there's a couple of things you can do inside of Omnisphere by adding harmonics or unisons. And what I've done is I've added a harmonic on that single note, and I've dropped it down a 5th. So it's actually playing both C and G at the same time, but all I'm doing is holding the single note C, and that gives it a nice kind of chord effect. So again, that's the mandolin, and that's got an arpeggiator on it, and again, this is all coming out of Omnisphere. Next, I'm using a Lush Super Sol Pad 2. I've bumped it up an octave, and I've kind of applied a nice low-pass filter to it, so it kind of brings down the high end. The high end can be a little bit overbearing, and I've got that right here in the kind of the middle octave. And what I've done is it's from G down to C. Notice on A it doesn't sound. It doesn't sound on B. It's just right here. So again, that's the Lush Super Sol Pad number 2. Next, I'm using kind of an analog string kind of sound. This is a Oberheim Butter is what it's called, and it's basically the same thing, and I've bumped it up an octave, and it sounds like this. So you can hear it's got that kind of 70s, 80s kind of sound to it. Again, this is just an analog kind of string section, not to be confused with acoustic strings. This is an analog synth kind of string section. It's called Oberheim Butter. Next, I've got another kind of bell sound. This is called positive analog, and I combine this with the actual glockenspiel in the song, and by itself, with the piano, it sounds like this. It sounds very similar to the Oberheim string sound, but it's got a lot of warble to it kind of deal. And then finally, I've got another pad called Greenhouse JD pad. With the piano, it sounds like this. You hear that's got almost like an ooh or an ah sound to it. It's nice and pure, very ambient and kind of hollow sounding. And if you're just diving into Omnisphere for the first time, a lot of these sounds, like for instance that one, I had never really used that sound before. And so I knew that based off of the recording, I needed something that was very ambient, very reverberant, but at the same time kind of pure and hollow. And inside of Omnisphere, you can look for all those parameters. I went straight to my pads, and then I looked for something that was ambient, and then I looked for something that was hollow and pure. Basically, that starts narrowing down your different options until it kind of got down to about 10 different pads, and I started going through them, found this one, and I liked it. And so those are the overall sounds that we're using. Now, when we combine some of them together, they can sound really good. So you can see how a lot of those sounds really work very well together. And if you're not familiar with layering, you need to go check out the 101 lesson on layering. I specifically talk about how you can layer different sounds together and really achieve some very cool sonic patches for these songs. And so again, I'm using Ivory for my piano, and then everything else is coming out of Omnisphere. This is just a controller that I'm using, and I'm using that acoustic piano, and then inside of Omnisphere, I've got a glockenspiel, the Hammond B3 organ, an arpeggiated mandolin, a Lush Super Saw pad, the Oberheim Butter sound, positive analog, and finally Greenhouse JD pad. If you've got those 7 or 8 sounds, then you'll have what you need to sound just like the album. Now, if you don't happen to have these sounds, it's okay. Just dial up a good acoustic piano, and then you can kind of rock along. If you happen to have a good bell sound, a xylophone, glockenspiel, or something like that, that'll really help when you play that melody. But you can get by in playing this song just using an acoustic piano. But if you do happen to have these sounds, you'll have what you need to execute this song. Be sure to click the link and head over to worshipartistry.com where you can sign up for a free account today. Every lesson comes with a music video where you can change different video angles, as well as step-by-step instruction for different sections of the song. We also have loop videos that you can practice along to, as well as sheet music, chord charts, guitar tabs, and a whole lot more. So what are you waiting for? Click the link and sign up for a free account today.